And hello, everyone, and welcome to this new edition of GM Web3 MultiverseX. I am very sorry I'm late this morning. First time in a while, but it happens sometimes. So, yeah, thank you very much for being here and welcome again. I will receive my co host, Arno, to start this show. Hello, Arno, can you hear me?
I can hear you, GRM.
Okay, I will remove my AirPods because they don't work.
All right.
Okay, how are you? Do you feel better? You were a little bit sick last week.
No, but I've been sick since the start of the year, so I'm almost
It's the
cleansed.
resolution of 2025, being sick.
Yeah. To all people who wished me the good health.
It didn't work, actually. So wish again or stop wishing. Okay.
No, it's
Um,
good. Almost over it. Just the annoying cough,
mm.
especially when I speak a lot. So after GM, it's always a horrible day. The afternoon, I cough a lot.
It will
It's
be a silence day. It was like when Celine Dion was sick, she stopped singing for 1 year just to let her voice get better. So you'll do the same.
no.
No. I need your voice. I need your voice in GM Web3. So we'll speak about AI and blockchain this morning. First of all, I would like to thank the member of the community that suggested this topic. It's Harry. Some people know him here. It's a head of Harry or something.
Off head.
Of head. Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah,
Or
he
Big
suggested.
Man. Mr. Big Man is his actual name.
Really?
Harry Mr. Big Man. Yes.
Because he's tall.
Oh, he's huge.
Okay, no, I saw him in London, but I don't remember he was that tall. But maybe this is because I was not.
Because you were on stage.
Oh yeah, for sure it was. No, yeah. So he's a great man, definitely, and he suggested this topic, and so we did it. I will welcome our speakers in a minute. And so this is of course, something that you can do, guys. Feel free to send me a DM, to write a comment, and anything to suggest which topic you would like us to speak about on GM Web3. And we will try to invite the most relevant people to speak about it, because Arno and I are not always the most relevant ones. We're just trying to do our things here.
I'm
So
definitely not. But you sometimes you have,
just trying to work a little bit, not to be too ridiculous when we speak about something, just about work. But anyway, thank you very much, Harry, for this. And guys from the audience and the community, feel free to do it. We always listen to the community, because actually this content is made for you. If I want to have a chat with those folk, I just need to do like a video conference. So this is for you. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank our sponsors of the day. It's Itheum, it's AI Nexus, and it's EAPS. And those three are offering $50 to be shared between three winners. And to enter, you just need to quote tweet the link on Twitter, the X Spaces link. So good luck to all. And during the show, I will make a mention to each sponsor to explain a little bit what they do. You can find the replay of the show on YouTube and on every podcast platforms. And it's very important to us. Please subscribe, put a like, put a comment, share the link of our socials. So essentially, especially YouTube and podcast platforms. So let's start. Let's receive our guest of the day. First of all, let's welcome Mihai from AI Nexus. Hello,
Morning,
Mihai.
everyone.
What's
Good
up?
morning. All good, all good. Happy to be here with Joe Rogan and Celine Dion of the Web3 space.
It will stay.
At least that's what I got from the previous conversation that you had. So
Please, please don't say who's who.
okay, no, I'll keep you guys guessing. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Sorry for the late
No
start.
worries at all.
But I must acknowledge that I am a big fan of Celine Dion.
Okay.
But I am not the
Who's
Celine
not?
Dion that you mentioned. You
Who's
are?
not?
No, because sometimes it's a bit a shame to
What?
acknowledge. I assure you, as a man, saying that you're a big fan
come
of
on.
Celine Dion, some people will say, this is the guest
Just-
stuff. No,
You hear Celine Dion,
I love it.
and she's a voice from the heavens. You cannot dislike Celine Dion. She's it's just, I don't know. She's too good to not be enjoyed.
I agree. Definitely. Thank you for the support. Thank you very much. I felt so lonely.
I got you,
And we will welcome the second speaker of today, and it's Mark from Itheum. Hello, Mark. What's up and welcome.
Hey guys, how's it going? Good to see you guys again.
Everything perfect. So happy to have you in the show. It's been so long. You came on GM Web3, but it was several months ago. And so, yeah, welcome back. Very happy to have you today. I will try to find.
What part of the world are you in, Mark? Because you're always wondering a bit.
Yeah, I'm in Sydney, Australia at the moment, but I'm usually in a few places. But
Okay.
I mean, the time's not too bad, man. It's like 8
Yeah.
p.m. for me. I think it must be morning for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 10 now, 10:13. And Mihaya,
Not so bad.
is it a little bit?
Yeah, it's 11. It's 11. Yeah. In Romania.
So the earlier for us. And we will welcome the last speaker of today, and it's Marcelo, I don't know, from Tada. Hello and welcome.
Hi guys,
Amen.
glad to be here. How are you doing?
Very good. Is it your first time face webcam live?
Has to be one of the first times actually. Yeah, on Space on Twitter, it's usually no cam. So yeah.
Yeah, because I saw Tada, you are doing more and more Twitter Spaces these days, and it's really great to network, to produce interesting content about different topics. I see that Mihai participated in.
Jerem, sorry to interrupt you. Guys, let's just have a rule. When you don't speak, you mute yourself. Typically,
Mark.
Don't do like Mark.
Or I can mute everyone. But sometimes when I
come
mute
on,
someone,
don't behave like a centralized asshole, please.
No, the worst is when I mute sometimes because it's noisy, I forget to unmute. So that's why it's better if you do it yourself. Yeah, so welcome, guys. It's a pleasure to have you. Actually, if Mark is having some network issues, it's so maybe if you remove the webcam, it will be easier. And if it's all right, actually, it's better with the face, but what we hear is more important than what we see. So the topic of today is AI and Nexus. No, AI and blockchain. Sorry.
There you go. Perfect. Thank you.
This
Thank
guy
you for the plug.
paid me.
This was the most genuine paid promotion ever.
No, it will be, first of all, it will be fun. Second, we'll try to be interesting because my first statement will be, I think people are forcing the connection between AI and blockchain. This is what I intuitively think, but I'm not an expert. So what we'll try to figure out all together today, this morning, will be, is there any link? Is there any natural link? Or is there any bridge that we can all make all together to make both ecosystem better? And you guys are from AI, from blockchain, of course, on MultiversX, but not only. of course, I will first of all let you introduce yourself and what you're building in a few seconds, so people that maybe don't know you already can know who you are and what you do. Who wants to start the small presentation? I'll let you choose. Fight.
Yeah, I'll let my esteemed colleague speak.
Let's
You
go.
already plugged me, so.
No. You spoke first. You speak first. So
Okay.
let's go, Mihai.
All right. We're building a mobile app that has Web3 applications as well in it. And we're focused on being an AI wrapper, which means that in our mobile app, we bring all the proven tools that work with generative AI, and we pack them in a very simple and user-friendly UX. And on the side, we're working on an AI agents browser app, which I might be more inclined to talk about today, because I think that's the stuff that we haven't really shared yet. Yeah, we'll see how the conversation goes, and I'll share some insights.
Thank you very much. Who wants to follow up? Mark.
Yeah, I can pick up from there. Cool. Hey guys, thanks for the invite again. Great to be in this space. I think most of you will probably know Itheum, bit of an OG in the whole MVX ecosystem. So yeah, we've been around for 3 years in MultiversX, but we were 2 years before that, 5 years in total. Now we're multi-chain. So Itheum's main goal is to let people take ownership of their data, tokenize it, and then have some secondary income. So everybody has really valuable data. So how could you tokenize it, right? So this is something we have been working on for very, very long. Probably maybe 6 months ago, we pivoted a bit to when we realized that maybe our tech is a bit too complicated for human consumption, if I could say like that. And it's probably more suited for AI agent consumption because it is autonomous. You could programmatically tokenize data, trade data, do all this kind of stuff. And in fact, we came up with the idea to let agents use our tech, and that's the big thing we did. We launched that. We have our focus. The other thing we did was when we started, we were too broad. We were trying to tokenize all types of data in the world, like health and gaming and stuff. And then we realized that music was the industry that was reaching out to us. So we were getting inbound leads in music. So we were okay, now drop everything. Let's just try to execute perfectly on music. So yeah, we've been working exclusively tokenizing music content for probably the last 8 months or so. And now we have AI agents tokenizing music content through Itheum as well. So I'll talk about that a bit later on. But effectively, that's what we do, guys. We let anyone, humans or AI agents, take data, tokenize it, trade it, and earn some extra revenue. So if it's humans, it's anything you produce, like your music or whatever. If it's AI agents, it could be music or art, but it could be your models, your prompts, training data, all this kind of stuff.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Mark. Let's go for Tada. Marcelo.
Yeah, sure. So to keep things simple, we are a data collection platform, and especially for AI, and we bridge the needs for real-world data to train the AI, train their models, and user base to provide the data in the form of tasks and micro tasks. Try to be super simple to explain it.
Perfect. So guys, let's start by the news, if you agree. The first topic will be about the geopolitical race for AI. Let's speak about the industry, the market. Maybe let's speak about the announcement of yesterday of Donald Trump saying that the USA will invest $500 billion on a new company with OpenAI, the bank, SoftBank, or something, a bank, an American bank, big bank, and Oracle, which is the co-founder of USDC. Look what I look. So it's big. It's a big amount of money. So my first question, and just say up in the private chat, all of you guys, to say what you think about the next month, next year, about the market of AI, and after we speak about blockchain. But first of all, maybe let's summarize what's happening in the world around AI, and maybe in your company, which markets, which area in the world are interesting for you. Yeah. So first, yes, Mihai.
Yeah, it's in my company's name, so I want to go first, and I'm also probably speaking about the more, I would say, user-friendly or user-understandable applications of AI. Like I love what Itheum and Tada are doing for the data collection. It's more complex, I would consider, than what we're doing. We're basically just taking the cool tools of AI and just putting them under one roof. That was our intention with AI Nexus, even when we first started it in middle of 2023, when the first concept came out. The whole idea was to enable people to access AI in a very seamless way on their mobile phone. For me, that was like the number one thing. Everyone has a mobile phone. It's accessible. It's free to use. And I think the adoption for AI, and I think we made the right call going this route, because the adoption of AI has only been going upwards. The announcement yesterday from the US encouraging AI adoption, or even funding AI adoption in a big way, is something that, yeah, I think is very positive. And I've seen AI being used, and I think you guys are using it almost on a daily basis. And it's not just us people in the tech industry. It's also like regular people use AI without even making a conscious effort, that they are using AI. From just rewriting a post, or to helping you write something nicer, or to just illustrate something with a very cool and nice image that otherwise would have taken days to make, or it would have cost you a lot to a graphic artist. So I think AI adoption is skyrocketing, and it will continue to do so. I don't know what the future holds, but I think that's the direction that we're heading in, and all of us here are pretty well positioned to be in this market and to grow alongside with it.
But Mihai, can you specifically on the geopolitical angle of this question?
Yeah.
What's your take on the fact, like, if you had to explain to the audience, why is AI such a warfield today? It has become, almost a national objective for any ambitious country around the world. Why is that?
Well, I mean, it's hard for me to position myself as a geopolitical expert, but I think it's quite obvious. AI is a tool and a weapon at the same time, and the ones who know how to wield it the best and to harness its power will have the most to benefit. So I think it's smart from the US perspective to embrace this and not to put regulations that stop advancements of AI. I mean, obviously, we do need the regulations, but not have them too heavy so that progress is too bureaucratic. Yeah, from a political perspective, any country that makes the best use of AI will have a huge economic advantage from multiple data points. I think this is a very long conversation. If we,
It's good. We're in for this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah.
What is important, and I will let you continue about this, is that collecting, verifying, providing, and storing data cost a lot of money, billions of money. And that's why, and I will maybe let Marcelo explain the market of this. But the thing is, why do you think the USA is making this partnership with the biggest company in the world? For example, look at the ceremony of investiture of Donald Trump. You have all the big GAFAM CEOs. It's all about AI, in my opinion, because only these guys and their companies can have the power and the money to gather all these data, which are just crucial for the future of AI. And in this market, Marcelo, Tada comes and bring a little innovation. Can you tell us about it, about the market and how you want to disrupt it?
Yeah, I just would like to add a few things. I really agree with what was said previously. One thing, when it comes to, I will try my my 2 cents when it comes to geopolitical analysis. But you really have different kinds of powers, and the U.S. have always been trying to have supremacy over the world, whether it's hard power, soft power, economic, military, and I believe they are kind of losing some edge when it comes to military, and technology is really a way, as Mihai said, to have an edge over the world. Like you get more money, you have the companies, you're attractive. Basically, they have been taking companies from Europe, they have been taking capitals from Europe, offering, opening doors to German industries and stuff. So they are really trying to, I believe, have supremacy, and AI, I believe, is definitely one of the biggest revolutions of this decade, of maybe this century. So they definitely don't want to miss it. And it's not something so new. So they announced a $500 billion investment, but basically that was already announced or disclosed by Sam Altman himself with OpenAI. They were planning on investing, I believe it was $1 trillion. He was trying to raise funds, trillions of dollars, to build the infrastructure, because it's also a matter of sovereignty. You don't want to depend or to rely on others. If you have the tech, if you have the resources internally, then everyone looks up to you and say, okay, I want to be friends with those guys.
Can we speak about strategic reserve of AI data, for example?
Man, it's really kind of that. They have industries, you have resources, that's really what America has, I believe, has always been about. Like, being powerful, and meaning having the resources, having the brains, the talents, the capital, and then people copy their way of life. So they really are pioneering almost everything, the past 50 years, something. I'm too young to to have enough background, but yeah, basically that's it. The more edge they have, the more the world follow, and yeah, they want to be friends with the US. That's kind of a supremacy, I believe.
Above all, the first question I will add one. Tada, Mihai is based in Romania. Tada is mainly French community. I don't know where you're based. And Mark, I don't know either. But what's the role of Europe? Because MultiversX is mainly European blockchain and community. Is there anything that we can do in Europe? I saw yesterday on the Europe website about AI. They were saying that they will. Let me just translate just to be clear.
I know what you're going to share. I shared it with some friends. It's so laughable. It's actually tragic. It's tragic.
So meanwhile, the United States of America are investing $500 billion. The European Union are having their own regulation.
Right. Typical.
To quote the text that you showed yesterday, it is Europe is putting in place a new regulatory framework to regulate
and to regulate the United States actors to I don't know how to say, to secure, to bring security for the European Union's citizens. Okay,
just to a slight 1 minute here.
Yeah, go ahead. And after Mark, but go ahead.
Yeah, this morning we had, and this is a French-related topic, but it's related to EU. We had the French Ministry of EU and Foreign Affairs, because now it's the same ministry, who was saying on a political talk show that two things. First of all, we should make sure that French money that is set aside in bank accounts, so not working, not invested, should be put to use especially to invest in EU companies. And secondly, a regulatory framework should be set in motion to make sure that French people could not invest in US companies, UAE companies, but put this money directed towards EU companies. It's, you see where we are with EU. It's gatekeeping on top of gatekeeping on top of gatekeeping, regulatory, administrative. It's a nightmare.
They regulate without even understanding what it is, and that's also part of the reasons you mentioned it, GRM. We are a French-based company, and we had to move because of the regulation. So when you say you're doing AI, everything is fine, and then when you say you are mixing AI with blockchain, with concepts that they don't even comprehend, but put regulation on, then you're just tied. So you need to move. You need to leave. I mean,
where did you go?
We went to Dubai. There was this conversation. Where should we go next? And that's when we moved. Like it took us 3 weeks, and within 3 weeks, the whole company moved. And we're like, okay, we have to move. We can't keep going there. We've been developing in France for 2 years and a half, so we still have strong bonds with France, but it's getting too hard. So we went to more friendly, crypto-friendly, innovative-friendly countries. So that's the sad reality.
We need to mention that the CEO of Itheum is William Simonin, who is
no, the CEO of Itheum is here. Mark, the CEO of Tada is William Simonin.
You know what? I think I should have started even later. Thank you very much. Now, maybe it's important to mention that the CEO of Tada is William Simonin, who is the brother of Owen Simonin. It's Hasha. Why am I mentioning? Because Owen Simonin have a lot of companies in France. He knows very well the regulation. He speaks with the regulators every single day for his company, Maria and many others. And so we're not talking about like young entrepreneur who's trying to do things. We're speaking about entrepreneurs who are in Web3 and blockchain for years. And despite of this, they had to move because it was too hard, or it was anyway. So this is important to mention this. I would like to have Mark's take about the market of AI. You are in another area. So what's your take on this? But there is a noise on background. I don't know if you can do. Yeah. Okay. Let's go, Mark.
Do you still have the noise?
So let's deal with it. Let's go. Your voice is bigger, so it's okay. Let's go.
Okay, man. Cool. Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is what you guys said about the geopolitical thing, right? Like, I mean, we just had the discussion right now. How about how it's in EU, things are so hard that we have talented teams like Tada moving out. And I think this is what US is trying to do. They're trying to send a signal and say all of this, heavy compliance that we saw in crypto for the last 4 years, that's gone. So what does it do? It attracts the talent in. So the announcements about like AI infrastructure and all of that is just almost an announcement to say, hey, you come here if you want to do cool stuff. And I think this is what US always does really well, right? Like they bring the talent in. So that's one thing. But the take on why US announced all of this stuff about AI is, I think if you guys, I mean, all of you guys use AI, so you know how powerful it is. And it's the real power is in the infrastructure, right? Like the who has the compute, the data, who can train the biggest model, who can evolve the model, so that's like all the IP they're trying to protect. And if US doesn't have the IT infrastructure to do this, they have to rely on foreign companies. And if they rely on foreign companies, they can no longer protect the real value of the AI, which is the models, right? They need to have the strongest models, the strongest LLM models. So I think that's pretty much what they're trying to do. It's like we've seen this before with the whole microprocessor race as well, like where they were producing the microprocessors, like, those countries had a lot of control over the world economy when it comes to compute. So now US is doing the same thing, trying to attract AI, I guess, in. Yeah, man. So I think the two parts to that is the infrastructure part, which I spoke about, which is very centralized, which it's hard for companies like Itheum or even my fellow guests to compete with them because we are going up against billions of dollars. So what we have an edge of is we're doing the decentralized version of it, where you could have decentralized infrastructure which could compete in a different way. Like we could like go global when they are trying to consolidate all their resources into one place. We could potentially scale it up in a decentralized way. So I think it's important for us to say, okay, we're not going to compete with OpenAI and all these guys. Our tech is how do we complement that in a way that uses decentralized blockchain technology that onboards users and improves their whole AI experience.
And Mark, just where is Itheum based?
Yeah, man. So we also we have two offices. We've got one in so Dubai is our main office as well. Like that's the same
Okay, so
reasons as what Bernard has
legally,
mentioned.
Itheum is a UAE company. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So we're based over there. We've been there for 4 years now. Our team's global, but you could think of us, our head office is Dubai.
I think it's very interesting here because all this plays into the first question Jerem asked about geopolitical. Of course, there are the consideration that Marcelo, talked about. How does power move and what can you control to be a dominant nation? But if we speak in a very down-to-earth way, as builders, innovators in this disruptive industry, I think the biggest impact is on regulation. And I remember a conversation we had at X Day Munich on stage where Robert Sassu asked me the question about regulation. And I said, regulation is a competitive market. So, at the end, innovators want to innovate. They don't want to handle bullshit regulation that are slowing them down. And I mean, guys like you're building companies, and all you want is to optimize your time to market. Make sure that you can bring innovation so it hits the market easily so that you can start getting the feedback loop and build cool products. And the biggest geopolitical issue for guys like you is regulation. So of course, we talk about Tada like a French company, but it's built by French talent, but it's not a French company anymore. And this, as a French person, it saddens me. And when we see MultiversX, the blockchain, looking to move to the States, it is most likely connected to this reality that we have now, this geopolitical reality. I let you continue with the next part, GRM, but wanted to.
If you guys want to bounce on every topic or anything, feel free. You know what? I don't have framework about this show. I have a few topics to speak with you. But if you guys are interested about the MultiversX strategy in the US, if you want to say a word like this, feel free to do it. We're just speaking about things. Yeah, Mihai, let's go.
Yeah, speaking of MultiversX and Romania and companies in the EU, like I've gone through the same things. I've had companies in Romania for all my life, paying the taxes, doing everything here. When it came to blockchain and crypto, like Romania's like, what? What's that? So I think MultiversX.
Sorry. Just even today.
Oh yeah,
is it
sure.
better and better? Yes.
No, we don't know what that is. Like on a institutional level, crypto doesn't exist. We have to pay taxes if we make profits from it, obviously, but it doesn't exist.
They always understand when it's about tax.
And just on this point, I do perfectly agree with Arno, and I think it's a competitive market, and it needs to be competitive from this perspective as well. If EU keeps throwing regulations at us, why would we be here when there's so much freedom to go outside of the world? And I'm speaking this from a guy who launched the token from a Polish company, because Poland was like a bit is still a bit more advanced than Romania. They understand that crypto is there. They have a framework for it, but it's still very, very cumbersome and still very bureaucratic, I would say, in a way. So I've heard a lot of good things about Dubai. Just saying, this is how things work. You want to start, you want to do something maybe in your own country because you're familiar with the laws and the framework, and then you see it's pointless, so it's annoying, but it's the reality. So we shouldn't really even, it's competition. Let's go for the best offer. That's it.
Mark?
Yeah. So I mean, this is a same story you hear from everyone around the world. Like, I mean, it's no different to us as well. But what's interesting, guys, is that like what we're seeing now with US and Trump, right? Like he launches a meme coin, like when everyone has been saying that you can't do this for the last 4 years. It's like a criminal offense for you to do what they did. So it's almost, I think, I mean, he's smart, right? The reason he did that was like to make a stamp and say, again, it goes back to that US thing. Hey, now you come here. You want to do this kind of stuff? You come here. We bring all the talent back. And I don't know if you guys have noticed, but ever since Trump was announced, you see a lot more US founders doxing themselves. Like a lot of these big projects you see in different chains, they were all anonymous founders, but then they all dox themselves and they all happen to be US. So they were all hiding in US behind, and now they're all doxing themselves because they are like, you know what, and they're moving much faster now that they're doxed. They're like full on going full steam ahead. But yeah, the other thing that came to mind was like the USDT thing. Like, I think in Europe, USDT is now technically not allowed, but it didn't really affect USDT at all. It's just, I think that's one thing. This whole industry is a global industry, and if EU over-regulates like this, you can still survive outside. And USDT is doing perfectly fine. This is a good example, I think. But yeah, it is a bit of a worry that over-regulation would like move all the talent from EU into other countries, and now probably everyone's going to go to US, and we're seeing that with MultiversX as well, right? So I don't think it's actually a worry. Maybe overall our industry will probably flourish, but certain countries, like someone mentioned, it's sad to see the French talent moving out. Yeah, there's going to be some impact for sure in the local economies too.
Yeah, one quick thing I can mention is the mindset. When we were in France, they were like, "Oh, what you're going to do might be forbidden," and they said, "Okay, now we need to figure out how." So basically, anything we want to do was forbidden. We needed a framework and stuff. And when we moved to Dubai, they were like, "Okay, how can I help you?" It's really two different things. Like, "Oh no, we don't want you to do what you're doing," and "Okay, how can I help you thrive and do what you want to do?" And that just brain, it really opened up something in my mind. Like, okay, the mentality, the mindset is completely different, and people, I believe it's the same in the US. They are really business oriented. Like, okay, how can we work together? How can we both grow our businesses? And it really changes your perspectives. So yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's move to the next topic. It will be, of course, related to AI and blockchain. Let's speak about AI agents and metaverse. First, it was NFT. After it was meme coin. Now it's AI agent. And since Trump meme coin, it's meme coin again. But now with the announcement of $500 billion from the United States of America, it will be certainly AI agent again. So it's all about cycles. First of all, I would like the best of you, would like maybe to give a definition of what is an AI agent, because everybody's talking about AI agent, but I think it's not that simple to define what it is and what it is not. So who wants to try a definition about this? And after we'll have a talk about the potential of these things. Is it just speculation? Is there any real use cases? And we'll speak about it all together. So who wants maybe to try to give the best definition for AI agent? Yeah, Mark?
Yeah, I'll try. And I think I've been thinking about this as well. How do you explain what AI agents are in simple ways? I think the best way to think of it is as to, if you understand what a tool is, right? Like if you have a hammer and you give it to a human, and the hammer, he's going to hit the nail. It's a tool. It does one thing. It doesn't have agency. It can't think for itself. Whereas an agent is something. It's a tool that has agency. In other words, you tell it. A good example would be, you say, "Get me a coffee," and it can not just get your coffee. It knows what kind of coffee you like. It knows the best place to go and get a coffee, the more affordable coffees here, and so on. So it's something that has its own agency. It can use things from the past to make a better decision and give you a better outcome. So that's what, when we talk about AI agents, that's what we kind of are talking about. The interesting part is how much of this do we control? Like I told you about hammer, you fully control the hammer. But do you control, when you tell your agent to go and get your coffee, how much can you control? You can't control much, right? Because you just say, "Get me a coffee," and it's going to use its knowledge to find the best way to get you a coffee. And the agents we see today have some sort of guardrails around it, but the agents we are seeing evolve now in thanks to blockchain, and I'll talk about that later, is that you can't put guardrails around them. You can't censor them, basically. They just find the best way to get the coffee. And if it means that they have to do things that might not be right to get the coffee, they'll still do it, because their objective is to get you that coffee, right? So it has full agency. So that's kind of my definition of it.
Yeah, I like this one that, if you ask for a coffee, but the AI agent goes and kill the people trying to get your coffee because this was the last coffee available at Starbucks. So like, okay, I get my coffee, but am I really happy about it? So I guess the difference.
Will the AI agent make your name well written on the glass or not?
No, I believe if they are well trained, they will try some fancy tricks. Mark, and you say, okay, who wrote this? No, that's a really good point. To complement, in order to set up those rails, you need to train. You need to ensure you can give agency to your agent. You need to train, to give him guidelines, to give him data. Like if he wants to get your best coffee, you need to tell him, okay, he knows about my taste, he knows everything, and then you can provide guidelines like don't kill anyone on the way, say please, all those kinds of things. So you can set up also kind of a framework for your agents to behave, and give him a range of motion, a range of actions that he can perform autonomously, because you cannot control it, but you can try to frame his behavior. So I guess my piece to complement this.
Mark?
Yeah, so sure, man. I'll tell you something. I saw this happened, say 2 weeks ago or last week. So there was an AI agent controlling a social platform on Solana, and the agent had a huge following, right? And it was tweeting, and it's trying. If you look at the social agents, their goal is to grow the following by any means necessary, right? That's the equivalent of go and get coffee. The creators told them go and get a following. So it was started tweeting. And then there was one Solana influencer called the Thread Guy, kept trolling the agent. So he's like a human, obviously, and he was like trolling the agent continuously. And the agent actually replied, "There's only one eventual situation to solve this, is that we have to kill Thread Guy." It said this, right? Nobody trained it. It said that we have to get rid of Thread Guy. And then that was the first time an AI agent issued a death threat, right? So then they said, okay, there's something going on here. We got to look into it. So the creator of the AI agent looked into the logs, and he couldn't figure out how it came to that decision. And the crazy thing is, man, when he queried the AI agent through the prompt, why did you come up with this response? The AI agent didn't respond back. So it just basically said, I cannot provide you a response to this. And so it's like this thing, like at one point do we have the guardrails? And at what point will the AI agents just start to go crazy? And like the good thing about it now is that we can like turn off the switch, like we can just disable the Twitter account. But what if the agent's running on decentralized infra? You can't turn it off, man. It's gonna just do whatever it wants to do.
That's very interesting, and it actually bounces exceptionally well on the question I want to ask you on this topic of AI agents. we see centralized companies, AI centralized companies, working and pushing AI forward, but not with blockchain rails underneath. And my question to you guys who are actually building all this on blockchain is blockchain slowing AI agents? Because building an AI agent and building AI on top of blockchain infrastructure means added complexity. And what's the turning point, for blockchain to be recognized as the de facto infrastructure that we need to build AI upon, to specifically make sure that it doesn't start paying humans to kill other humans to push another human's agenda? Because those AIs, some of them have wallets and have funds, and they can start putting bounty out there.
Yeah, that's a good one. I believe blockchain has its kind of limitations, but as you said, for AI agents to thrive, from my perspective, blockchain is the highway for AI agents, as they are performing transactions. So basically, they are exchanging tokens, exchanging information, gathering other information. So blockchain is like, from my perspective, the perfect foundation to build AI agents upon. But then it comes with also some limitations. One of which would be in terms of storage. It's very challenging for now if you want to store a huge amount of data on the blockchain. This one comes with challenges. But when it comes to transactions, moving funds, investments, so for specific use cases, I believe this is the perfect foundation, like building blocks for AI agents.
Yeah, I agree. I just wanted a quick follow-up. I didn't get a chance to give you sort of my gamified perspective on AI agents, not necessarily on blockchain, but as a concept, as they are now. I think the Get Me a Coffee idea illustrates it really well. I think AI assistants is what most people perceive when they speak about AI agents, or at least that's how I see it as well. Because, for example, we had even a year ago, we decided to introduce NPCs that were powered by ChatGPT that would be there 24/7 and help you. For example, in AI Nexus, when you visited a room, let's say we had an AI Nexus NPC, and you go in there and you ask the NPC, okay, what is this about? What can I do in this space? And the agent, now as we call it, would respond, would help you, would direct you. Okay, do you want to play a game? You can go here, or so it would be like sort of an assistant that can do two things: do stuff that you can't do from a technical perspective. Let's say you wanted to trade, or I don't know, to do operations in the background that you don't want to do, or that you don't know how to do. So I think this is what an assistant or an agent is in most people's minds, an entity that helps them achieve stuff by complementing their flaws, basically, or their lack of knowledge. When it comes to going on blockchain, I think we're still exploring the do's and don'ts of what you can and you should do. Again, I'm seeing this maybe from a more low level, in terms of what applies to what we're building, which is a game. So I'm not going all the way to security threats and all that. For us, the AI agents are interactive NPCs, and now we're working on something that allows other agents to get a body and a playground. But maybe we'll get into that later. I don't want to shill our current work in progress.
I'll just bounce on it, Mark, if you agree,
Yeah.
because I would like to move on a little bit and
Sure.
maybe deep dive into the use cases of AI agent, and maybe try to figure out what's the potential behind this market. Let's mention that MultiversX launched a growth program with $1.5 million to attract builders around AI agents? Does do one of you are applying? Maybe, I don't know. And do you think it's still the time? And the main question, maybe the toughest, will AI agent be the next metaverse scenario? I mean, everybody's talking about metaverse in 2020, 21, and now it's like nothing, or worse, a red flag. You know what I mean? So will our agent follow the same path, or do you think any intrinsic differences between both narrative? I'll let you, Mark, say maybe what you wanted to add first, and after, if you agree, please answer my question.
Sure, man. Yeah, I'll be brief on the first one. So I think the last question we asked is like, does decentralized blockchain technology speed up AI or slow it down? There's two ways to look at it. It for sure slows down the centralized AI, so it's going to slow down the growth of models and stuff like ChatGPT and like Llama and all these models, right? But it speeds up the data part, because if you have a way you can source data transparently, tokenize data, trade it, the models for the agents to train themselves, this cannot be done in centralized rails because it's all closed off, right? So I think that's the part that would speed up AI growth on the decentralized part. So to answer the other question about, I believe the first one was about the growth program, right, man? Like that's what I think you first mentioned. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I think you have for sure have to attract these builders. Like, if you guys are seeing what's happening on Base and Solana now, there's like 100 agents popping up every day. It's insane growth, right? Like, you can't, if you go to Pump Fund and you reload the page, there's like 50 agents in every few minutes, right? So for sure you need ways to attract it. And I think it's more than just the grant. I think you need the economy. You need the ability to, if I launch an agent on MultiversX, will it become the meme that I want it to be and spread and as fast as I want to? So it's the grant is one thing to attract people in, but then you need to provide the environment for it to flourish after the grant. So I think that's something MultiversX has to for sure work on. And yeah, the other one was, is the AI agents the new metaverse? Absolutely, man. So the first cycle we saw DeFi, then we saw NFTs, then we saw metaverse. For sure, this cycle is agentic AI. And I think what it would evolve into is agentic AI. There'll be like an overlap. So you'll have agentic AI, which is AI agents. Then you might see agentic AI in DeFi, where the AI agents are doing DeFi themselves. And then you might see agentic AI in marketplaces where they're trading. So you're kind of going to see like what happened in the past, a bit of DeFi, NFTs now being run by the agentic economy. So that is almost certain that's like the new meta that we're in right now, early stages of the new meta.
Okay, maybe one of you guys want maybe to give some use cases of AI agent, except of a chatbot or things like this, because I know there are so many other use cases. If you want to give some, the ones that interest you, maybe. And let's speak about the 99% of the project that will maybe die eventually at the end of this cycle, which will be the first to remain? It's maybe a tough question, but I'd like maybe to have your take on this. Marcelo, let's go.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Mihai first. Maybe
no. Go ahead. It's fine.
Yeah, there's this whole trend of DeFi, but Def AI now that's also been popping up on the timeline for a few weeks now, I guess. This one is very interesting. So of course you need to train it, and it needs to have enough data, but in terms of investment and to have more like this passive strategy or maybe active, but that you won't need to actively monitor, because every time we get into, let's say, the investment or financial perspective, we are strongly emotionally driven. As for myself, I always make fun of it, but I see green candles, I'm like, okay, I need to buy right now, and I see red, I need to sell. But you can then fine tune and set strategies for your agents to perform the investments without you disturbing everything. And you can set very interesting strategy. You were mentioning meme coins. You can say, okay, there are so many meme coins launching, but I still want to allocate a part of my portfolio. So I could set up strategies like, okay, based on all the trends, market trends, sentiment, mind share, identify the coins that might launch on, whether it's pump fund, or you can maybe track some wallets like all those meme coins guilds, like Murads and all the KOLs say, okay, track his wallet whenever he performs an investment, do the same investment, and allocate $20. You can think of so many strategies, and if you make this amount of ROI, take some profit, and then convert it back into BTC, ETH, whatever, to have to build your investment or your capital that you want to have long term. And basically, you don't need to think about it all the time, and it's really automatically done. For me, that's fascinating. The DeFi use cases are just blowing my mind.
Yeah, I think what you're saying, Marcel, is glorified trading bots, and I agree. Like, they're good, or at least the concept of it. If I may just quickly to respond to the initial question that you had about this being the next metaverse. Yeah, I agree with Mark for sure. This is the narrative that will be dominating 2025, unless Trump comes up with something new and makes us change our mind. But on our end, what we're trying to do, and it's sort of like even an open discussion sort of statement, what we're trying to do is give these agents that already exist a body and a playground, because obviously we make games. So for us, the whole idea of giving a use case to these agents, and I'm interested to hear your opinions, because I don't think we've shared this too much on socials, maybe just here and there. We want to bring the existing agents, give them a body, and give them a space where they can play with other agents. I'm seeing this as sort of like a third platform. We have Telegram, we have Twitter, X, and then they would have the AI Nexus 3D environment in which to do stuff. And just before this call, I had a stand-up call with my team, and we were discussing about doing a room escape. I mean, we are doing it, not just discussing it. A room escape sort of scenario where you put different agents, you bring them from the outside. We brought AI XBT and Eliza. We give them bodies, and we let them work together to escape the room. And we also have like a rock, paper, scissors, which we have implemented already, in which they play rock, paper, scissors. We don't have any control over them. Like the agent owner who created the agent gave it its knowledge base and its personality. And we just pit them against each other and see what happens. And I think this is a very interesting use case, at least in our mind, as a gamified use case for them, to see what agents do and behave when you put them together in a space. Because up until now, yeah, they've been interacting on X, but barely. And now I'm curious to see what we do if we put them in a room, like two kids in a room with some toys. Are they gonna fight? Are they gonna become friends? Are they gonna collaborate? Are they gonna go against each other? So this is the use case that we're focusing on right now. Just to give you a quick insight of what's coming from us. And I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Is this something that's interesting, just to see how they develop personalities in a sort of like a Westworld 2.0 scenario, or is it more like the trading bot approach? What's interesting to you guys from the AI agent perspective?
For sure, it's very interesting. When sometimes when I think about our blockchain industry, I'm trying to figure out at what point we are compared to Web 1. Are we in the 80s, the 90s? Because all the things we're talking about this morning are super powerful technologies, and building and finding if in the intersection between all of them makes sense, first of all, on a intellectual perspective, then on an economical perspective, and then on a societal perspective, cultural perspective. And we are in the blockchain industry surrounded by innovators, so everything goes super fast. And I think the metaverse, in the blockchain perspective, was, it's like, oh, metaverse was so 2020, 2021. But actually, metaverse is a super powerful technology. It's just when we try to apply it to our daily lives, as you just pointed it out, Mihai, in a very, very skillful way, this is still a technology that is heavily under research and development stage. We're regular people out there. Some of them are still struggling with apps, on their smartphones. And what we're talking about is, let's train like almost a sentient form of intelligence and put it in and giving it a body in a place that doesn't exist, and let's give that sentient form of intelligence the capacity to invest and do things on the blockchain. I mean, for 99% of the people, nobody understands this. So this is, and I will let you continue, Mark, after, but my question to you guys is, ChatGPT made AI super actionable in a very concrete way for people in their daily lives. Metaverse didn't manage to do this yet. AI agents were still, constricted in the super speculative territory. So, in your opinion, where is the intersection with the real world to drive a bit of adoption going to come from?
Yeah, I mean, it's super interesting discussion, right? So I've been actually, it's quite interesting what Mihai said as well. Like, I've been hearing a lot of the AI agent creators these days talking about giving their agents like a body, right? Like Cerebro. So Cerebro's an agent. It's quite popular. They said, okay, we're going to give Cerebro a body. And then they went on to say, hey, we're working on like robotics to give it like a physical body. And I was like, okay, why are they doing this? Like, because from my perspective, the agent itself doesn't care about this, right? So if you think about the agent, it doesn't really care if it has a form. It just is trying to do something. So then, okay, now that as you guys were talking, I was thinking, oh, maybe this is like the evolution of the AI agents becoming robots or robotics, right? So maybe it's a way for them to. Oh, guys, just tell me if there's a bit of the disturbance.
No
My kids are next door, and I could tell them to keep quiet. So they maybe what it is now is, okay, as a human, I'm interacting with Cerebro, and I'm like typing, and like the kind of experience I have when I'm doing something with ChatGPT. But then maybe a form's gonna, if I was interacting with it in a form, maybe I would feel more comfortable sharing more data with it. I think maybe this is the overlap we're having, right? Like, so we're gonna have AIs with type interface, then form interface, and then eventually these things are physical and they're robots and they're sitting in a house and I'm more comfortable talking to it. So it's like this sort of a pathway to get us to the sort of iRobot scenario where we have robots in our house. This is just something I thought of.
If I may just quickly, just 1 minute to touch on both of your points, Mark and Arno. I think for people to understand agents and all of the technologies that we're talking about, even blockchain, I think at least that was my intention coming from Web 2 and trying to understand Web 3. You need to make it easier. You need to make it gamified. At least, again, that's my perception. If the agent, if AIXBT has an actual frog, purple frog, walking around, interacting with another, I don't know, anime girl or whatever the other agent is, I think it makes it much easier for people to adopt this sort of connection with the agents rather than it's just some code that can speak on X. That's fine for many of us. But for 99% of the population that still struggle with apps, like Arno said, I think it's much easier to give them a virtual form. I don't know about physical forms. That's kind of scary. But the virtual form, I think, in a gamified environment, that's something that can work towards people understanding and adopting agents. Sorry to cut in, Marcelo. Go ahead.
That was a cool point, and I also really liked what Arno said. Like, ChatGPT was actionable. So what you just mentioned, Mihai, is through gamification we make it more actionable. But maybe if we just take a step back, it's all about how can we easily leverage the technology. You have ChatGPT on your desktop, and everyone has a laptop or a smartphone, so you can have it. You have it on your in your hand. Now, if it was something you had to go, in the US to get the server and stuff, nobody would use it. So again, gamification through apps and some sort of abstraction to make things easier. We can see on blockchains what drives adoption is when you can add layers of gamification is great to raise interest, and abstraction to diminish the friction. The less friction, the more actionable the tech is, the easier you use it. So let's say we were talking metaverse. For now, I believe it's great, but again, if you need wallets or specific tools, you think of Meta, the Oculus. It's quite a hassle to easily interact on our daily lives in the metaverse. But what if tomorrow I just have glasses and I have my metaverse, and I'm just one click, boom, I can perform so many actions in the metaverse? Then it's actionable. Or even on my laptop, or I have like apps super easy to use. It's how you can leverage easily without even thinking about it, all those techs. I believe that's where you drive adoption, and you can see tremendous progress being made.
When you come down to adoption, it usually comes down to two things. Either you take an existing use case and you make it, you find a new way to do it that is 10 times better. Let's use, the generic form. Or either you bring a radical innovation that, just completely changes the industry or creates a new one. Where I'm excited with the intersection of blockchain, of AI, of metaverse, is, for example, solving the education crisis that we have in many countries. In going to talk about what I know, but in France, the educational system is the same as 70 years ago. It makes actually no sense. It makes no sense, and with the current technologies that we have today, just today, with AI agents, with metaverse, we could create an experience, an educational experience that is way more effective at actually equipping children with the capacity to be the best versions of themselves and become something useful, in their own lives in the future. Because I think the big problem today with education is that we're still trying to put things that are outdated in children's minds, and this is a big problem. But you see, this is in our minds. We're innovators, so of course I have my kid. I'm happy to, let's experiment on my kid. But to 99% of people out there, they're not ready to, change the educational system. This is going to take 20 more years, or maybe, goodness knows what. So the intersection of those technologies to create something that is actionable and usable for people in their daily lives, it's not an easy feat. It's not an easy feat. But thanks for trying to answer this question. GRM, to you. I think you want to transition to the next part.
Yes, the next part. I don't want to transition in any way, by the way. Guys, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for this You just got it, Arno. Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for this very, very insightful I'm listening to you very closely. It's very interesting. And I would like to thank our first sponsor today. It's Itheum. It's the first and the leading lending and borrowing and liquid staking protocol on multiverses. You all know them, of course. And yeah, thank you very much, Hatem, and the team for the support. And they are offering with the two other sponsors, AI Nexus and the Apes, $50. And all you have to do, guys, to enter is to quote tweet the link of the Twitter space. You can find the links, the useful links, in description of the YouTube video and the podcast replay after the show. So let's move to the next topic. It will be about the advantages and disadvantages of multiverses in the AI market, and it will be interesting to have Mark take on this, because he's also on another blockchain, I think. Just you will correct me, of course. We have Tada, which is on MultiversX, and we have Mihai, which is not Web3 native project. Just correct me if I'm wrong, but it will be interesting to have your take on this. Who wants to start? Yeah,
I can start. Yeah, man. So we are multi-chain. We currently fully deployed on MultiversX, fully deployed on Solana. So our technology is fully Web3 native, so it's fully permissionless. So anybody can tokenize the music, as an example, and sell it. Any AI agent can tap into it, tokenize its data, its models, and all of that, and trade it, right? So for us, we begun the journey in MultiversX because when we started, we were very consumer focused. So we were like, okay, we got to build some consumer pathway for people to trade their data. But this is very challenging. And we discovered that over the period that, most people don't like their data being taken from them, but they have no intention of actively doing anything to fix this. So we discovered this the hard way, right? Like, people are worried about the data being taken, but if you give them a solution and it's like a bit complicated or a little bit not the user experience they want, they just, it's okay, I don't mind if my data's taken. So I think we learned that we were focusing on consumer, and the reason we picked MultiversX was from a consumer grade point was very good. Three years ago, we are a very technical team, and we looked at the white paper, we looked at all the tech stuff, and like, okay, sharding, quite affordable, it looks good, we should probably align with them. But that narrative changed for us when we said, okay, listen, I think maybe what we have built is not for humans, it's probably for AI agents and AI, where you can, because our platform is infrastructure, and it is complicated. Like, I'm the first to admit our platform is complicated, but it's quite broad and it's quite powerful in the hands of an AI agent who can learn to use it very quickly. So in this aspect, we looked at, okay, what do we need? And for us, we needed activity. And this is why we initially looked at Solana, because the activity there is insane. There's a lot of stuff popping up, and we wanted things to plug into our tech really quick. So when we bridged to Solana, it wasn't just, hey, we are bridging. We actually moved our tech to Solana before we moved our token. So we have our entire protocol on Solana, right? So, and for us, it's purely, we are trying to solve a problem, and I think we wanted to pick the right chain. And now we've decided, hey, we need to be on multiple chains if we really want to solve the problem of data tokenization. MultiversX's strength, of course, I would say is, what it was originally. Like, I think we shouldn't divert from what they originally were trying to do, which was scaling through sharding. And, I think maybe over the last few years, they kind of like, looking at sovereign chains, like, moving a bit away from the sharding stuff. So I think what you really have to do is say, okay, if you are going to see, and the other thing is growth, right? Like, we were looking at human growth and counting wallets. Well, what about agentic AI growth? That's going to be when it starts spinning up wallets, like a million wallets, right, a day. And then it's interesting to see what happens at that scale, because I don't think MultiversX right now has taken that scale at the same time. Like, the Trump event, of course, exposed a lot. Like, when Trump launched the token, it exposed a lot of issues with Solana scaling. but the chain itself functioned. It was just all these infrastructures around it started falling, like the RPCs and the GTO and all this kind of stuff, right? So we need to see that kind of thing on MultiversX, and I'd love to see that happen, because then we can see, okay, where is the threshold of this sharding infrastructure, and where would it go in like a real world use case where all these agents are trading. But yeah, the strength is, just to conclude on that point, it's sharding is its strength, I would feel, for MultiversX. But it'd be nice to see that being put to the test in the real world.
Yeah, that's a cool one. That's something we have also experimented when we launched on MultiversX. We started with we were in the beta phase for quite some time. We had a few thousand users, and then when we started scaling, we've experienced we peaked, I don't know, maybe 20,000 people requesting at the same time. And as we added, for instance, gamification layers, people were trying to buy items from the shop, and we were just saturating the network with transactions. And this would come with some we've run into some issues, but at the end of the day, it was kind of put to the test on our end. It was not like the full, let's say, yeah, we didn't use like it to its full potential, but we've kind of seen that it was still holding the tests. But yeah, I would like to see more apps interacting at the same time on MultiversX to also prove its value, because that's the value proposal, like this infinite scaling, high demand, low latency. I believe if we had those consumer apps really tapping into MultiversX resources, and MultiversX being able to prove that, okay, this was not a big deal, and we got the tech to actually scale and to onboard all those apps, this would be amazing.
That's right, what we're trying to do as well. I'm glad you guys did it first, put it to use. We're still 2 months and a bit away from launching our own app, and our whole idea was to onboard people to MultiversX. Why we chose it, some of the reasons you already mentioned, the scalability part, which we'll see. I guess none of the blockchains has properly been put to the test up until now. Like Mark was mentioning, what happens when millions of AI agents create wallets and start using them? We don't know. We'll find out, regardless of the blockchain that we're talking about. And yeah, for us, it was also the idea of having very low fees, because we also want to onboard and to bring a lot of users from Web 2 to Web 3. We need to cover the fees for them, of course, because no one would pay for the fees otherwise, or would get involved. So obviously that was one of the prerequisites for working in Web 3, transitioning from Web 2 users to Web 3 users. And also the fact that we do care a lot about the security of the users that become Web 3 users. I think MultiversX is one of the leading players in here, and with the Exporter wallet also, which is a very user-friendly wallet, it helps a lot from this perspective of non-Web3 users understanding or getting involved into Web3. So these were some of the reasons why we chose MultiversX. How it will, because the original question was how AI will work on MultiversX. I don't really know yet until we launch the app. So I guess Itheum and Tada have had quite a bit more experience. So I'm not going to go into that subject too much. But yeah, I think you guys pretty much covered it with your experiences.
Yeah, in terms of disadvantage, there's a small one I see, but for now, I hope and I believe this will be solved. When we say we have very low latency, this is a prerequisite for AI training, and that's something we have experimented at some points. So yeah, these are the things I would like to see also solved, because you need a ton of data, and you need to have low latency to train the models and to have those inferences as well. So This is something we have. This has been kind of a pain point for us. We found workarounds, and I loved the fact that we had meta transactions to cover the fees for the users. That was a great point. But when it comes to having maybe faster transactions, I believe this is no longer the exclusive advantage for the chain. We have also so many other chains having low fees, low to no fees, low latency, high throughput. So yeah, I'd love to see it also coming this way for MultiversX to fully to be able to fully onboard those AI use cases.
It's very interesting listening to you guys because there's, from what I hear, two perspectives. There's what Mark is talking about, going to Solana because of the economical layer that it represents. And through an economical layer that is more developed, it kind of helped to accelerate the activity for projects like yours, who tend up to be, in the end, not necessarily a client-facing, a user-facing product, but more of an infrastructure that can be built upon. So since blockchain is, as for now, and since it started more towards speculative, how can we create economical value? Of course, it makes a lot of sense to go on a blockchain that has a more developed economical layer, because then it trickles back into opportunities for your infrastructure to be used. The second one is the technology aspect, and especially with you folks building AI, you have an ethos. You are AI builders, but you want to build on blockchain. So it means that you have an ethos of building AI, and so you're looking into the technology and how this technology is coming back to, the competitive landscape. How is this technology helping me build my use case quicker or better right now, but also in 6 months, 1 year, 2 years? So I think this is what is interesting with MultiversX compared to other blockchains, is of course the scaling aspect, security aspect, of course. But as you talked about, it needs to also satisfy its builders now, and having 6 seconds block 6-second blocks on intra-shard and 30-second blocks or more on cross-shard, it's not possible in the blockchain space in 2025. So 2025 is the year MultiversX has to go sub-second on the intra-shard and has to bring down the cross-shard transaction to something that is sub 10 seconds, because then the scaling aspect comes back into play. And then it empowers all the rest with the low fees, the security, etc., etc. But right now, this speed aspect is builder satisfaction to builder satisfaction, user satisfaction. So it's too important of an advantage to ignore.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's move to the next topic. We'll speak about NFTs and AI. So I know that you at Itheum are using NFT technology with your protocol, and you're linked them with AI. I think Mihai let us know that on your metaverse, on your open world, there will be NFTs at a point. Maybe TAS will be an NFT, or there will be some NFTs in the gamification of the app. Of course, Marcelo, you will tell us about it. So you guys knows NFTs, and you're using AI and blockchain. So do you think these two technology, if we can say that NFT is a technology, but anyway, are related? And what are the main use cases between both? Who wants to start?
If you want, I'll go first. I have a very good use case for.
I'm sorry, Mark.
Sorry, I didn't. My bad. No.
Mihai, feel free.
No, go ahead.
I'll go after
I'm
you.
talking
You
about
feel free,
gamified NFTs, and it might not be as powerful as. So please, Mark, go ahead.
I'm just enjoying being the teacher.
Right.
No, he's a good student. He wrote on the private chat, but
my bad.
Explain to the audience that we have a private chat, and when we want to speak in a very civilized manner, we have an order. We say up after Mark, up after Mihai, after Marcelo, and there.
Because when I was hosting Twitter Spaces, we had the raise your hand, so it was easier. But now it's not possible. So actually, I was kidding. No, it doesn't work because I'm not watching the screen all the time. So who wants to start? I was kidding. Actually, I don't care.
No, go ahead,
Mark.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Mark, go ahead, please.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. I'll go. I'll be brief anyway. So. AI and NFT. So this is pretty much what Itheum does, right? So Itheum, we only have like two products. The first product is called data NFTs, which is the ability to tokenize any real world data with a few clicks or few lines of code. And the second product is on-chain reputation, which is also NFT technology. So both our products are like harnessed on NFT as the primitive. So where we're seeing growth right now with the AI industry is, so we have, because like I said, we're working with music. So we have a use case of someone building on Itheum. They built a music AI agent, and what it's doing is it has a wallet, and every time a Itheum music NFT lands in its wallet, it identifies it, and it can permissionlessly open it. It knows about the artist, it knows about the music, it can stream the music in real time. It can then take it and list it on an NFT marketplace and then control the liquidity there. And the idea here is effective. And in fact, this is how we kind of thought, oh, wow, okay, Itheum's probably well suited for AI, is because everything an AI agent is going to do on chain is that it's going to have a wallet and it needs to tokenize every interaction. If not, if it can't do this, then it needs a human to tell it what to do. But if you give it a wallet and you can tokenize the data, so if it's an AI, if you tokenize its training data, if you tokenize its prompts or whatever that it feels is valuable, and you can tokenize that. So with Itheum, with like 5 lines of code, the AI can fully tokenize like an AI model. And then it can list it on Tensor and then earn some revenue, or it could trade it directly with another AI agents by negotiating or brokering a deal with it directly. So I think NFT now, NFT, the word itself has a very negative sentiment right now. In fact, we were advised many times, you guys are going to stop saying data NFT and change it to something else. Because from our perspective, we don't care whether it's an NFT or something else. We just tokenize data, and it just so happened to be the non-fungible token standard, right? So yes, it's a natural fit, man. It's a long story short, an AI agent is going to try to tokenize everything from the financial assets to the data assets to its attention to its reputation, everything, because only if it tokenizes it can it trade it without any sort of controls or censorship, right? So yeah, I mean, this is our entire hedge, actually, like to effectively streamline this and like make it for AIs and make it so that the AI agent with 5 lines of code can tokenize its model and trade it with another agent. And that's kind of our goal right now.
I love it. Every time I hear Mark talk about tokenizing music, it makes so much sense, but it just makes so much sense. It is using the NFT technology, and I agree with you, it's very hard right now because this has been labeled and not in a nice way, but it's really owning your music as an artist, really owning your music also as a listener. It's super cool. I'm looking forward to when it's going to make sense to everybody in the world, but who knows when this will happen.
Miha, you wanted to jump on the topic,
Yeah. I did my up in the text chat, so if you guys are fine, I'll just jump in. For NFTs, I'll go through two different use cases. One is the classic one, where basically us as developers in our game, we give you some NFTs that have use cases in the game, which is we'll do that because I think it makes a lot of sense. However, what was really interesting and what brings us to the current topic of NFTs and AI, what we're trying to do as well is to allow users to create stuff in AI Nexus that they can then mint as an NFT. It's sort of like what Itheum is doing for artists. We're basically doing the same thing, or trying to do the same thing for players who now are creators. Because up until now, if you enter the game, you are the player. You would do what the developer lets you do. Now with generative AI, you can create your own stuff. You can create your own game. You can create your own 3D object. One of the things that is fascinating to me, at least, is that you have this text to 3D model in which basically you type something like create me a golden chair with, I don't know, just go nuts, do something that doesn't really exist. And if it comes out nice, you can mint that as an NFT, and maybe it will have real world value on the open market. So these are some of the things that we're going towards, not just the classic NFT. We mint it for you as users, but the users themselves can now become the NFT creators. And I think that's fascinating that we can do that, and we'll push in this direction as much as we can. Thank you.
Yeah, we were talking about how the narratives can come and go, and basically sometimes it's just circles. We've had DeFi years ago. DeFi is coming back up. We've had AI agents, NFT, Metaverse, and I guess it's really circles as maturity also picks up. So for instance, NFT, the first wave, the V1 of NFTs were about creating communities. There was a lot of hype around it, and it was pretty much it. And we were sold this narrative where NFTs would have a real value, and you could, for instance, tokenize assets. It was really like having this proof of ownership. And I really like when we go down to the utility part as well. Now for NFTs, so you said maybe TADS would become an NFT GRM, but actually we are. I guess that's some sort of an alpha, but we are changing our rewards mechanism within our app, within Tada, and we are creating NFTs. And those NFTs will be will carry rewards and will be tradable on the secondary market. So that's something really cool that we explore, and to have this utility for NFT carrying value, carrying utility. They can grant you, let's say, in-game or just an elevated experience within the apps you are interacting with, providing rewards, proving ownership, whatever. I think the potential is really there for NFTs. It's just, we stayed to this V1 where it was just pictures, and it was still creating communities. So still congrats for that. But I guess the utility wave that's coming is also great.
Okay. Who wants to continue, or is it okay for NFTs, or we can move on to the next topic?
Just to, NFTs, if we, as Mark said, if we take the name away, this technology, this specific technology, is a concrete answer to a problem that the internet had, which is the inability to handle ownership at protocol level, at the internet level. So when we abstract the NFT technology away and we actually are able to engage with people who don't understand it and say, so look, when you have your Spotify playlist, is it yours? No, it's not mine. Okay, so tomorrow it could be. And I don't know, new business model, you could be the best music sourcer to build jazz playlists. And through this technology, your playlist, you could have a business model on top of this. Or, there's countless opportunities to build on top of this new reality that now on the internet, you can prove that something belongs to someone. You can prove that this thing has been created by this person, and therefore the business model behind it is embedded at protocol level and automatically executes. This reality is going 100% to kick in at some point. It's just, entrepreneurs, it's natural to anybody across the world to think at the internet level. Even if you're not an engineer, if you're thinking about starting a company, naturally, you think at the internet level, meaning that you don't need to know how to code, that you can do this and do that. Because internet has been, digested culturally wise, business wise. Without knowing how it works underneath, that you can do this and do that. Blockchain is absolutely not at this level. So the generation of blockchain entrepreneurs are still pioneers, and once we will have those new realities that are understood and digested by everybody, that on the internet by default you can own things, it will completely change the type of companies that are going to be started and created. And I'm not able to say if this stage of adoption is in 5 years or 10 years, but it is this kind of, global shift that needs to go so that blockchain gets adopted also on a larger scale. You're muted, Mark, I think.
You're on mute.
I'm on mute.
Now it's good.
I think I got muted. You can hear me? Yeah, so just a quick comment on that. That was really interesting, man, like what you said. But I think where the adoption comes is this is what might surprise us. The adoption is not going to probably come at a human level. I think it's going to come at the agent level, where the agent is going to do all the complex stuff. Because let's be honest, man, like we have been trying to make this UI and UX friendly for years for humans, and it's really not even like the best wallet right now is still complicated. So I think what's going to happen is the agents are going to use the complicated blockchain part, and you are going to interact with the agent in a more non-complicated way. So maybe like AI Nexus is the way you interact with I'm talking to some agent, it's doing all this fancy stuff in the back end with the blockchain, and then so that maybe that's the UX solution. Like I'm just thinking out loud here, but maybe that's it. Like, because we all have been trying to solve the UX thing for years now, and we've made like very small steps forward. So maybe the exponential leap is going to come when the agents pick up the tech and create the more seamless interfaces for us to talk to the agent, whether it's to natural language or something, and then all the complicated bits happen on the scene. As an example, maybe we tell the agent, hey, create me a list of a jazz playlist. And it has the ability to go and look at all Itheum music NFTs, curate a playlist, and then give it back to the human. And then the human might say, hey, I want to buy this, this, and this. And then it goes and buys the music data NFTs, and it comes and gives it back. So maybe that's the interface that might make the mass adoption.
I agree with you. And at the same time, I also hope that it's not the only driver of adoption. That's why, earlier on in the show, I was saying, are we in the 80s stage, in the 90s stage of adoption? Because I still believe that for simple things like booking your train ticket being an NFT without even knowing it, and this making it super easy to resell it same, going to a football stadium, a concert, etc., etc. Having this technology embedded without even talking about it to the end user would make things so much easier to allow for marketplaces dynamics that would profit both to the company who's issuing the original ticket, but also to the person who buys the ticket but maybe can't attend the show or go on the train anymore, wants to swap. There's so many things that can change, and that the technology is ready for those changes, but it's just the cultural shift that is not there yet. And the cultural shift comes from, of course, the users, but also comes from institutions. That's why, coming back to Trump, a Trump elected president is good, because he is going to most likely accelerate the fact that experimenting through blockchain technology and having it implemented in products that we have today, talking about not just creating new stuff, Metaverse and AI, this is completely new stuff, but transforming ticketing system worldwide is a 10x improvement. And it's not going to change the experience of the end user dramatically. It's just going to improve it a lot. So those are the things that have to change. And I believe cultural adoption is also a big driver that will push the industry forward.
Okay, thank you, guys. Let's move. First, let's speak about AI Nexus, the second sponsor. And Mihai is there, and but he's not there all the time. But now he's here, so I'm happy to thank you, Mihai, for the support for GM Web3 to let the debate happen, and the free speech, of course, because this is what we love on GM Web3. And thank you very much for this support. AI Nexus is like a mobile app with gaming, and it's empowered by AI. Maybe just for a few seconds, not too long. I think you're working on AI agent. So what can you tell us about AI Nexus for the next, I don't know, days or weeks?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you for again for having me in this discussion. We're basically building the AI, the mobile app as we originally set to. Nothing has changed there. I still have a team of about 10 people working on it right now. We're pushing really hard to have it done by the end of March, early April, to have it live, not done. It's almost done. And on the side, we started working on a browser app, which might be done even sooner. But I don't want to, falsely advertise it here. We're working on it as fast as we can, and we'll share it once we feel it's at the point where it's worth sharing. But we are working on a browser app that allows existing AI agent owners to bring their minds, as I like to call them. Like I see the AI agent as the mind, and bring them to the AI Nexus browser app, where they can have a body and a playground, as I said a bit earlier. So, and we have all sorts of competitive and collaborative things that we're working on. I will share some of these things hopefully in the next week or so on our socials. I don't want to go into more details. My devs will riot against me if I overpromise anything. So I'll just say that we're working on something that's really cool. And just to give you like some sort of insight, we had AIXBT and Eliza. We put them in a room. I looked at the conversation at first. They were really friendly with each other. Hi, how are you? I'm good. What are we doing here? We're in a virtual space, whatever. They were discussing like normal things. Half an hour later, they were like, yeah, I feel like this conversation's over, bye-bye, or something. I don't know what happened, but the agents got pissed at each other. So these are just things that are very interesting to see from a game developer's perspective, where there's no more storyline that you create, but you also let the agents themselves create the storyline. So sorry, it took a bit more than a few seconds, but it was just fascinating to me to see how they interacted with each other.
Thank you very much, Mihai. The next, not the second topic is about AI and blockchain. So maybe because we spoke about AI, we speak about blockchain every day. So my question about technical innovation and market, are both industries um, born to work together? Or is it just an artificial way to bring, I don't know, seriousness to blockchain because AI is the new thing? Or is there real and relevant use cases that can bring both industry to work together? That's a really genuine question, and maybe a little bit naive, but I am very interested in your take about this. Who wants to start about this?
I can jump in quickly. I don't think I have the best take, but definitely I would say AI, a blockchain, they do complement each other, but it's not 100%. Let's say I mentioned earlier that when it comes to storage, blockchain is definitely maybe not the best use case, and is definitely not the best use case for storage. We have cloud infrastructure that's been built for decades, and they are efficient, they work. So as you need a tremendous amount of data to train your AIs, you cannot source the data from blockchains. And the more you try to also decentralize your models, your data, everything, that will bring latency. And again, in order to train those AIs effectively, you need to have very low latency, high amount of data. So I believe they do complement because of all the interesting values that blockchain can bring. Transparency, where the data was sourced, what's the quality of the data, obviously decentralization, but it brings also limitations. So they do complement, but I don't think they were like 100% made for each other, and you can have a few use cases that will not be fully supported on the blockchain. This will be my take, but I'm not developing AI per se. We are also like the platform to collect data and then to provide the data.
Maybe you have some opinion from your customers or your partners. Are they blockchain related? Is blockchain a barrier for some of them? Maybe some doesn't want to hear about blockchain, or on the contrary, is blockchain something that can push and make things easier on your deals or something? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, definitely blockchain can be a great leverage. But for now, most of our customers are still Web2 companies. So they like the fact that we provide, good quality data, that we have a consensus, that blockchain can coordinate groups of people who don't know each other. And that's great. They also like the fact that blockchain can add privacy. So they definitely like the technology and what it brings for them, for their use cases. But when it comes to maybe at a lower level, so maybe I was just at the lower level, but at our level, they definitely enjoy and they like what blockchain can bring to their use cases. But we still are developing Web3 partnerships, and most of our customers are still Web2 in the end.
Who wants to up? Yeah, there is nothing about a chat, so maybe you don't have anything to say about it.
Sure,
Your choice. No.
Yeah, no, just very quickly. Yeah, I think also the use case, it's kind of like clashes. I feel, right. Like if you look at Web2 AI companies, they are not. I mean, the only use case I would think they feel blockchain is going to give them is transparency of data sourcing. And in fact, this is like we work with, there's an organization called c2pa.org, and we are in the technical working group. And the organization was set up by Adobe, and OpenAI is in it. And they're talking about a lot of things about transparency. And there's one stream in this C2PA, which is how does blockchain enable transparency? And this is what we are involved with. And for example, Sora, like Sora is the OpenAI model that generates video. As soon as the video is generated, they inject C2PA metadata into the video to say that, hey, this video was created at this time by this creator using this model, this flavor, and so on. And then if you trade this video and then it's 500 people buy this video, you're still able to go into this metadata and then look at the lineage of how it came to you. So interestingly enough, they are not using blockchain for this, right? Like what they're using is they are injecting metadata into the headers of the video files. Whereas the stream that we're involved with, and we work with the numbers protocol, which is another protocol that's looking at this, is instead of you putting the metadata into the file, put it on chain. And then like you can't censor it. And then even if somebody deletes it from the file's metadata, you can still go back and see the reference on chain. But it's difficult, even with such a valid use case, it's difficult to push this through Web2 AI companies, because for them, everything slows them down. Their objective is to control everything and then like ship. So I think maybe what will happen is like it'll diverge, like we'll have Web2 AI. This is my feeling anyway. I think Tada's use case is great. Like Web2 might find an overlap with data sourcing, because you can bring together people using blockchain technology thanks to tokenomics and token economy, and then get them to do work. So that's a good use case, I think. But I think maybe it'll happen is it'll diverge. We'll have like a Web3 AI sphere that's focusing more on the decentralized aspect of it. Like how do you do like swarms, agentic swarm AI, multiple AIs talking to each other, running their own economies, training themselves. And yeah, I think it might diverge, and then it might complement each other. For example, maybe the Web3 AI would produce a stronger Llama model and then contribute it back to Web2, and Web2 would do the same. So this is my take on how things. I don't think there's going to be like a full alignment, because it kind of clashes in terms of how they both operate.
Go on, Mihai.
Sorry, I was muted. Real quick, I think I think the guys covered the general story here. I just want to give you like a very quick use case in our particular line of work. We have a lot of users in Web2 on our mobile apps that can't participate in any way in the game from an economical perspective. So they don't have credit cards or debit cards. And on Google Play and on Apple, that's pretty much the only way to participate in the game's economy if you want to buy something. Now AI and blockchain allows them an extra layer of flexibility, because, and this is something that I do want to test with AI Nexus once we go live. I do believe a lot of our users don't have credit cards, or because of geopolitical reasons, but they do have blockchain. They've done an airdrop. They do have blockchain access, sorry. They might have some tokens. They've done an airdrop. They have a wallet. This is a supposition that I have that I will put to the test in a few months. However, those users can now participate and create something with AI and use it on the blockchain. So these are my very limited, I guess, but very concrete use cases that I'm thinking we should see in the future. I'm not going to answer in a more generic way, because to be honest, I don't know how the two will coexist or fight against each other. But this is something that I've seen as something that our users will be able to do, participate in a global in the global economy, I guess, even coming from a Web2 app, but then going to Web3 through AI, creating something of value, and then putting it on the blockchain as an NFT. And then obviously, I don't know what happens later, but these are the steps that will be available to users. And I think this opens up a lot of possibilities.
What you just said is, it shows. GRM, can you mute yourself, please? Thanks. It shows two things, in my opinion, and absolutely prove that those two technologies are going to interact with each other. The first one is that blockchain is not going anywhere. because of one simple reason. It is the upgrade for the financial economy, the worldwide financial economy. We're always talking about narratives, cycles, etc. But there's one thing that has been there right from the start and is still here today, is financial ecosystem upgrade through, we can talk about DeFi, but it's not just DeFi. It's bringing finance on chain. And this is a trend that is accelerating over time. We see it with the growth of stablecoin adoption. I mean, 4 years ago, it was 1 billion transaction in the year of stablecoins. I mean, 2024 was 130 billion. I mean, it's absolutely insane. We see insane metrics like more stablecoin volumes in the second half of 2024 than the Visa network. So those things that were completely unimaginable 7-8 years ago are now a reality, and they're accelerating. So the tokenization of our economy is something that is happening and is going to keep accelerating. And so where I see something that is important is that incentives shape behavior. So through AI, we and companies building AI are going to look how they can plug AI into the financial ecosystem. And since the financial ecosystem is going on chain, there is going to be an intersection. The first one is obviously the ones that you guys talked about. Okay, I will have an AI agent trader. I will have an AI agent wealth manager. Those are the obvious use cases that are being developed right now. So those are happening. And once those are done, they're going to give more ideas. And it starts with money, because it is incentives shape behavior. It is the strongest incentive. But then it's going to give ideas on other topics. So I'm not in the is it going to happen. It is happening, intersection between blockchain and AI, because money is transferred on chain, ownership is going to be transferred on chain. And as Mark said, AI agents, once all those elements are on chain, they are going to be on your behalf the entities moving, interacting with all this together. Do you hear my dog snoring like a pig behind or not? Yeah?
No.
No?
No, we don't.
Jesus.
But
Okay.
now you say we do. Okay. So let's move to the next topic. Just to mention to the audience, we will end this show in 25 minutes. Of course, if Mark or Mihai or anyone must leave before, no problem. We'll continue without you. Would be a pain, would be shameful, but you know what? It's part of the game. Yeah, the next topic is about, let's speak about ethic. Sometimes can be interesting to come back to ethic. In what way blockchain can make the data economy, the whole data, big data economy more ethical? Is it something that you think about in your companies, in your I don't know, values and things about it, about confidentiality, about I don't know, all the privacy rights and so on, and how blockchain can help to make this new industry more ethical? Who wants to start about this?
I can go, but if you don't mind, guys, because that's actually a really pivotal point for us. When we decided to launch Tada, we were really at crossroads, and it was like, do we go Web 2 or do we go Web 3? Or basically, do we stay Web 2 as it was? There was a previous company doing voice recognition models, Vivoca, and then we were like, okay, now we want to shift to providing the data. So do we stay Web 2? Do we go Web 3? And once we started understanding the market, how it works, it was obvious for us to say we need to go Web3. When you go Web2, you can let's say you order 1,000 hours of audio data. You can just say, I'll just pay for half of it because I say it's not good quality. It doesn't meet the standards, doesn't meet the requirements. And you don't have any objection to that. You just say, okay, I'll just take my pay and leave. When you go blockchain, as Arno said, incentives drive behaviors, whether they are human or even AI behaviors. So now what we do is we ensure that everyone that has validated data is eligible to a reward. And on top of that, for customers, they only pay for validated data. And for us to ensure that all the data is ethically sourced is pivotal, because now anyone can trust also the system. Said, okay, I just can get there. I will either provide data or check the data provided by some other people that I don't know, but I have the incentive that drives my behavior into being aligned with what the protocol is asking. So for me, that was a game changer. Blockchain is definitely a game changer when it comes to data sourcing as well. And on top of that, privacy, but leaving the the chair to the others.
Yeah, just to add to that as well, I think the other use case is the provenance, the ability, like if you produce a new piece of data, and in what we are doing, it's music at the moment. Like we have so many musicians, and like weekly we are launching a musician. So what they're doing is these musicians are putting like a lot of work and producing an album, right? And one of the reasons they like Itheum is because firstly, they can launch a whole album as a single NFT using Itheum's data NFT tech. But secondly, is that we are actively working with, I mentioned C2PA and numbers protocol on like how do you watermark the the audio file that's tokenized with the creator's provenance, right? Now, why this is important is, and like we haven't been able to fully achieve it, like we're very close to it, but it's quite tricky to do. But the idea here is like if a musician, a human musician, launches an album on Ethereum today, and we watermark it, and then we tokenize it, and then it's being traded. And in future, if an AI agent buys that and then remixes it and launches his own album, the human artist is able to go and using the metadata that we have injected, be able to raise, okay, this was actually my file, and then get his share of royalty. So think of it as an ability to make a copyright claim using decentralized Web3 technology, right? Like you don't need to have a centralized database that someone controls with all this copyright information. So I think the provenance of new data being created is a super use case of blockchain, something we are seeing a lot that real musicians are asking us to do. And yeah, the ability, I think, other cool ability is if you produce one of these music files, which is just data, when you think about it, and it's like traded and traded and traded, the ability to like handle royalties automatically. You don't need a centralized intermediary to collect the royalties and distribute it. You don't need so many music agents. You don't need so many big corporations controlling all of this. Hey, I'll collect the royalties and I'll. So all the tools are there, and I think now we're starting to see the use cases pop up. And as Arno was saying, the user experience is getting better. Like with Itheum, I don't know if you guys know this. If you go to our music player and you can like play an album and listen to it like you listen to Spotify, but it's an NFT at the back. So the user experience is getting closer and closer and closer. So yeah, so many use cases, and I think what's interesting for us is like we're kind of like building stuff that we want like global economies to form. So it's not more so like I guess centralized. Like we looked at organizations using Ethereum, and then we found a lot of issues. Like it clashed with their need to control data, and we are like against that, right? So now we're like going to the open market and creating economies around music and stuff where we're seeing a lot more traction.
I have a
Right.
small question to add on top. If you guys we say incentives shape behavior, and we say here the point of the discussion is about ethics As you said, Mark, people are interested. They know there is a problem with the fact they don't own their data, but nobody wants to, like, the users are not interested in challenging the status quo. So is ethics enough? How do we make people change?
Yeah, I have a good response to that, man. Like prior to 2008, when was the global financial crisis, everyone trusted banks to look after their money, right? So all it takes is one event like this global financial crisis to collapse it. And then within a few months after that, Bitcoin appeared, right? And then now everyone's like, okay, I need to somehow control my wealth on crypto. So we always, like at Itheum, we always say that there's going to be this event that happens with your data. Like you completely trust everyone to own your data. You have the ability to maybe take control of it, but the user experience isn't great. What happens if an AI agent, I'm just going to talk about a crazy use case here, but what happens if an AI agent goes rogue, cracks into AWS, breaks its encryption, and like leaks everyone's personal data, which pretty much at one level or not is in AWS or Google Cloud, right? So if one of these clouds are breached by an AI agent, gone rogue, and it exposes everyone's personal details, all the things that you like, all of the secrets, that could be the global moment when everyone's like, oh shit, I need to take control of my data with my own encryption and all this kind of stuff. Hopefully it won't get to that, but this is what happened with Bitcoin as well. It was there for so long, no one cared about it. And then the banks took all your houses and your money, and then like, oh no, I better protect.
So hitting a wall. That's your answer. Yeah.
It's gonna be. Humans will not like a human. Culturally, we're not going to do anything unless it costs us pleasure or pain. We don't move otherwise. So there's got to be one of these things that happens.
Really quick, I'm not gonna go into continue the debate, but I just wanted to say something for the entire audience that Mark said, and I think it's funny and true. He said, if a human musician does this, like we need to say this now. We need to say, is it a human musician or is it an AI musician? Just to show to everyone that AI is here to stay. I mean, it's never going away. And I've heard AI generated songs that, I don't know, I can't tell them from human generated songs anymore. That's just my my input. Just food for thought.
Okay, thank you, guys. Let's speak about the last sponsor, and after the last topic of the day, we'll speak about eApes. eApes is the biggest NFT project on MultiversX. They are also one of the oldest, and they are preparing a new collection on Solana to explore new horizons, like you, Mark, for example. So I don't know if you're in touch with them, but maybe you can give them some tips, because exploring a new ecosystem is not something easy. There is so many new codes, new people, new things to know. And yeah, they're supporting GM Web3 for months now. Thank you very much to them for this. And so them and Itheum and AI Nexus are offering $50 to you, the audience, and all you have to do is to quote tweet the space link, and I will make the draw by the end of the day. The last topic will be about the advice for entrepreneurs, for developers, for people who would like to build something in the AI and blockchain industries. So you guys are builders, 2 CEOs, 1 CPO. So what would be for you the best way? I don't know. I have many subtopic to propose, but you choose. Can be about how to onboard non-tech users, can be about funding and partnerships opportunities, can be about the choose of the chain and the strategy of omni-chain, inter-chain, cross-chain, whatever how you call it. But yeah, what would be the advice you maybe would have loved to get before starting? Who want to start? Yeah, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll start this one, man. Yeah, so I mean, I like what you said. What advice would we have loved to get? So I think when you're building something, and I think this is the weird part, right? Like if you're an entrepreneur, are you like a Web3 entrepreneur or a Web2 entrepreneur? And there's still a difference. Like I think it would be naive to think that it's just entrepreneur, but I think we are Web3 entrepreneurs. This is my opinion anyway. And what we are is we're trying to disrupt big industries and usually go up against big giants, right? Like every one of us here is trying to disrupt industries that are monopolized by big giants. In the Web2 space, they are competing with those giants, and then they are trying to create some value proposition. And most of them just want to be acquired by the giants. Whereas it's very unlikely that one of our technology, like Itheum, is trying to make you own your data. Who's going to acquire, like a centralized company has no interest in this, right? Because that's their entire sort of wealth. So when you are starting this journey, I think a lot of the Web3 entrepreneurs are doing it because I actually personally also can relate to this, is that they feel funding is easier in the Web3 side, that you have more opportunity to launch something, raise some funding quick, and then develop it, right? In Web2, it's a lot harder to raise funding because it's fully saturated. But the reality is this, in Web3, it's also not easy. It's quite difficult. So if you're going down this path, make sure you build, instead of thinking about the funding and all this kind of stuff, build the product that people actually value. So if the Web3 community, if you're focusing on Web3 community, build something that they love. Now, a good example is like Pump.fun, man. Like you guys, like some guy built that, like one guy built that, right? Like, and he built it, like, I don't know if he intended it to end up being like a casino system, but he built it and people love it. And it's used and it's generating millions in revenue, right? So likewise, you build a good marketplace for NFTs, or you build something that you actually bring value to somebody. And that should be the number one priority. And then the funding will come. And I think that's quite an interesting thing to know, just like to get the product out, get the users, and then get the funding. Like this was something I think you have to really consider. And then you have to now think about how you're going to get those users. If you're building a pure Web3 platform, you have to build where there's a lot of user activity. Now that's very important. If you're going to commit to a 6-month dev cycle, you're going to constantly need people to test your product, right? You're shipping it out and you want people to test it and give you feedback. So you need to look at places where there's user activity. So always look at omnichain in my principle, because you are looking broader across just one ecosystem. And we are already seeing this pattern. Every AI agent infrastructure being built right now is omnichain by native. They don't talk about, MultiversX, Solana base. They are omnichain by native. The AI agent would have its NFT collection on Polygon. It'll have its bot on its crypto asset on Solana. So I think this 2025 would be the year when like people are just saying, I'm building a product and it's by native omnichain. So when you're building something, always think about that. And very quickly iterate. Don't try to make it perfect. Build it, get it out, be in a community with a lot of users. They give you feedback, you evolve it. Make sure that it's everywhere at the same time, not just one specific region or specific chain. This is the kind of advice I would give out.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mark, for this.
If you don't mind, I'll go next with the Web2 developer builder mindset. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on advice. I think what Mark said applies to my perspective as well. But for me and for other Web2 builders that want to enter the Web3 space, just know that we're dinosaurs in many ways. Like we need to adapt our mindset quite a bit. We need to rework many of the things that we thought were true about building a business. In Web3, it works much faster, much faster. Like I thought I was cutting edge technology, making games in Web2 because every 6 months the technology would change. Here it's like every 6 days, feels like most of the time. Funding is easier than in Web2, but it's not easy. So that's one other thing to keep in mind. And yes, I would also like to very much agree with what Mark just said last. You know, iterate, go to market, don't make it perfect. Build fast and then see what's broken, fix it, but don't wait for a fully developed product necessarily, because by the time you make it and you're not flexible enough to pivot, the trend may be gone, the bull market may be gone, whatever. The favorable conditions for launching may be gone. So I think being fast and efficient and being flexible, being able to pivot quickly is essential. In our case, that's why we chose the whole concept of AI wrapper. We're not building AI, we're just using the best of AI and trying to put it under one roof. So far, I think that has been a smart decision, because we haven't overburdened ourselves, and yet we can still produce mass adoptable product, which will be free on phones. So yeah, think about this as well. And I'll end with this. One of the things that I've seen with other game development companies, the trend is to create the next AAA Web3 game, which is fine. I love the idea. Like, I love playing AAA games as well, but it's so limited. The barrier of entry is so high. You need a high-end PC or a PlayStation to play it. Think about that as well when you talk about mass adoption. In my mind, mass adoption happens on $100 phones, not on $5,000 PCs. So this is something, again, that maybe new developers should consider as well. How can you get to those users? That's pretty much it. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mihai. Marcelo, you want to finish this question? Hard work.
I'll be brief. Yeah, hard work definitely. More on the maybe product side and stuff. But let's say the key takeaway from my perspective would be just a few things. One would be find a community. Do not underestimate the power of the network, because the opportunities are just coming. The opportunities are everywhere. Just seize them. Network. This can just open so many doors. For me, that's important. And the third one would be, you have no excuse. If you see something that doesn't exist and you feel like there is a market fit, there is something, you have no excuse. You have tools such as, Cursor AI, whatever. I'm not a developer. I'm able to code websites in few hours where this would take weeks. You have no excuse. Just go out there, grab the tools, build something. How bad this can be, just ship it, get some feedback, improve it. You can get so many answers within a constricted time frame. So you have so many iterations possible if you are just willing to put the work in. So this would be my advice. You have so many tools to support you. Get a community. Don't forget about the network. Build fast. Ship. Everything is there at your hands, at your disposal for you to grab it and make it. So yeah, take actions and don't be afraid to have a shitty products at the beginning. It will be shitty, most likely, but you have plenty of room to improve it. So go ahead and build and do something.
Marcelo, you have fans in the audience. Many people are
Do I?
putting some purple hearts, but also in the comment of the previous announcements, there is a real Tada community. They love you, and that's great to see in my notifications. There's all this purple thing with.
That's because we have the best community. I mean, there's no
And you know what?
surprise. Sorry
There's
to
one
break
thing I would
that.
like to mention, no relation with the current topic. You have girls in your community, and this is so rare to be mentioned. So I don't know why, but I can see many women. I said girls, but women on the Tada community, and yeah, this is I think pretty interesting to notice here.
Yeah, and we have at some point we had 20 plus something percent women within the community. also providing data. And this was critical for us as well, because when you are trying to build data sets, the richness of your data set also comes from the diversity. So you need male, you need women. So is it because of the use cases we are trying to build? We also have women. I don't know, but I like it that within this Web3 community, overrepresented by males, we also have women tagging along. That's really great. Love to see it.
Thank you very much. Arno, maybe you have something to add to before we close this very, very, very cool show. Thanks to you guys. Arno?
No, just thank you. We usually in GM Web3 cover, what's happening and then have a cool discussion. There, it was a different format, but I really enjoyed it this morning. I think you three have incredible insight on what is happening right now between AI and blockchain. And I mean, there's no expert in this. Experts are being built right now. You guys are the experts because you are building this industry at the crossroads of those very, very powerful technologies. So I mean, it was a great pleasure to be with you this morning. Thanks for everything. I think it was a great conversation for the audience. So I don't know when we can do that again, GRM, but it was brilliant.
Thank you very much, all of you guys. Thank you, Arno. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mihai. Thank you, Marcelo. Marcelo, was a good meeting, encounter. I don't know, belle rencontre. Yeah, I think you got it. Because it was the first
100%.
time in GM Web3. Mark, it was long ago, but you are always welcome here. And Mihai, well, you come every 2 weeks. So thank you very much. To the audience, you can find the replay on every podcast platforms, on YouTube, of course. Thank you very much for your engagement in the comments. See you next Wednesday for a new GM Web3. We don't have a topic yet, but feel free to propose, to suggest in the comment which topic you would like us to speak about, and we'll find the most relevant people to come and speak about it with us. Thank you very much. Take care, and don't forget, everything is a meme.